for our full moon, I'm going to recap aspects that we looked into in today's videos. And one, as Sadhguru points out, human suffering is manufactured in the human mind, as are human limitations. As Terry Real has pointed out, and he is a family therapist and a person who supports people to build great relationships as a therapist, but also training other therapists and or individuals, even as myself. So people who support people in life to live good lives, about how people marry their unfinished business. And so that's for those who have the human suffering. And here's where a 5D mystic and or functional adult does not have that. That is where there's a very distinctive difference, because we don't have a disconnect with our emotional body. Or if there is a disconnect, there is an awareness by the human being who owns the body. So instead of doing the hurt people, and so they don't marry into their unfinished business, means they don't engage in indirect communication with somebody. They will take their life as a person seriously and their relationships. And so they will tend to use their mind, because the mental health community has been around for a while, and there's a lot of good information on attachment and on trauma. And on that note, the 4D collective is busy with spiritual warfare, is what they call it, and that's why we're going to leave it alone. But the Twin Flame and Flame saga, I'm going to share a note on that one, because the 5D community doesn't have this saga, and you have a relationship with your oversoul. And on that note, you don't do unfinished business with your oversoul, because see, doing unfinished business would mean that you are playing out your unresolved trauma from home, from your first years of life, and your attachment wounds. Instead, if you're in the 5D group, you are aware of being a person, and you take being a person very seriously. And so again, there's no shame, blame, fault, or revenge. I know I'm a person, and I have an attachment system that develops in my first 2 years of life, and that I might have unresolved trauma and or I have charge states, I have child parts, however you call it. So I'm not going to bring into my relationship my stuff. I'm not going to fix someone. They don't need to fix me. Those are people who live codependent type relationships. And the ones who get help, they eventually lead themselves to being able to have relational mindfulness relationships, relational integrity relationships. So they learn how to be functional adults together. They learn how to be their self together. Okay, so on that note, again, just a little bit of this and that. 5D, they love working with their emotional body. And that's why they don't do the human suffering. They also work with their mental body, and that's why they don't limit their potential. And here is our lovely infinite higher human consciousness potential experience that we talk always about by bringing human, spiritual, and spirituality elements together, whom we meet, and us, because the IHP Community Masterclass will begin to build a lovely, even bigger community than we already have, with the inner growth mindset courses and the material and everything that has been being built in all of these lovely years. And so on that note, the Twin Flames saga. Any one of you who is a mystic or a functional adult for that matter, but you know of this word, okay. If you are a secure person, then I don't need to really spell it out to you on this beautiful full moon, because again, you don't bring unfinished business, which means you don't cancel people from your life. That's for the codependent types who don't know about their own unresolved trauma and attachment wounds. And so they don't know about the good psychoeducation, because if they did, they'd know that canceling and the labeling is not your healing journey. That is actually a charge state, and it's a reactivity, and it's something you would want to look at, because hurt people who hurt people and labeling somebody a demon or a devil or whatever, an energy vampire, or even the whole saga again with the twin flame thing, means you're actually not oneness consciousness, which is why it's not in the 5D collective. Meaning we don't label people. We don't shame, blame, fault. The Zen masters are the 5D collective. So they're okay with working with the mental and emotional body, and they know we have infinite higher human consciousness potential. That's it. They don't doubt themselves as humans. I'm trying to make it very straightforward. Because the 4D, they doubt. They don't want to be human. They're not. Apparently they are not human. Here's where back to the codependent type person. Martyrs or superiors, I'm going to change you. I'm going to push psych education on you, push labels on you. I'm going to do a lot of things. Then you're going to feel very little if you're a person who, I want to take care of you. So I'm going to blame myself, self-blame, because if I'm being scolded by you, which if I have an emotional disconnected body, I will not know how to feel anger and or disgust when somebody's mistreating me. I'm going to be low self-esteem. I'm going to have a relationship with indirect communication, passive-aggressive, manipulate, and in fact, power. And those are where the movies are at. All insecure attachment people with unresolved trauma and trauma wounds. And some have very important journeys if they get a good therapist like Patrick Tiahan. And he's a childhood trauma survivor. And as he spells out, and I totally am on board, Reiki can help to clear that lovely aura energy field. It's not going to heal your trauma, because what your nervous system and your embodied brain is part of that learned as that first 2 years of your life and 3 years, it's all implicit memory. These are all sensations. So as long as your emotional body is not your priority as a human being and you're busy thinking of yourself as a martyr or superior or self-blame, this is the part I've seen a couple of people, they're in 4D right now, and they're being brought some tower moments, the famous tower moments that some of those lovely readers tell you about. Let me spell it out to you, humanly speaking. It is an event and or more that gives you the opportunity to master and create a relationship with your emotional body as a human being. And to know that true self-worth, as Terry Real points out, and all the good therapists, it's not about being superior and fear here. Because that's where the shame, defectiveness, heartbreak, gut wrench, torn apart, and trauma memory is. It's here, and then it comes out in your shame cycle. Inner critic, outer critic, denying through addictions, drugs, sex, alcohol, food, procrastination, not taking action, and withdrawing. So an avoidant, for example, attachment, a disconnected, and an insecure attachment, that is of a disconnected. Not only do they have their head and body is separate, so there has to be first the reconnecting of that. But furthermore, they will live in their mind and have scenarios of every single one of those successes that they could ever imagine possible. But they don't take action because their attachment system longed to be seen, didn't get seen. So it didn't get soothed. So the emotional body was disconnected. The seat of empathy was disconnected. And it's actually frightening and painful to even try, because there's something deep within that they don't understand, which is why the therapist helps, because they have titles and they've done studying and they can explain something. But the funny thing is people watch too many movies and think that the movies are true with the drugs, alcohol, sex, food, and to live out life like a teenager who's then a grown-up. Not all, thank goodness we have, again, good mental health professionals. So people who are in the 5D collective, they don't stay ignorant. They learn about attachment, trauma, and they take their life in their hands and they create a relationship with their emotional body. And they take it seriously. So hurting people, that's not okay to them. And they'll notice, okay, if I'm not taking action, this is on me, not on somebody else. And wait a minute. But if I'm not taking action, why? So if you ask questions, the intelligent ones, they wonder. The dead idiots, they're the sure ones. So with twin flames, the trauma bonding scenario of avoidant and anxious is what I saw. And this is where I share with you, you don't need to do any type of journey or saga. Just get whoever's your twin flame. If they want to be in a relationship with you, go to a lovely Terry Real, somebody who can help you all work with your attachment systems. And you will have figured it out. For purpose, you're your purpose. If you don't actually have the ability to use your name and be like, you know what, I'm here. I'm a part of life. I make a difference, because it doesn't mean you're small. We're all small. Nobody can be a replica of any of us. So your purpose, use your name. And on that note, the 5D mystic and functional adult knows. So we're not superior and inferior. We are people, and true friendship. Fuck you. You're a shit. No, you're a shit. And we hug it out. So we learn how to build emotion regulation skills and experience relationships minus the drama on all of the IHP content. And the masterclass is coming up soon. So stay tuned for more and sign up for the paid subscription-based model content. Have a great day and a lovely full moon. And if you have any questions, let me know.